I must, first of all, from the very onset, express my appreciation to the Communications Authority of Kenya for developing a strategic plan that will guide the authority or provide a roadmap for the authority up to and including 2027, with a view to enabling the organization effectively deliver on its mandate. Now, the launch of this strategic plan, ladies and gentlemen, is coming at a time when ICT is a key cog in our Kenya Kwanza plan. The digital superhighway is a thematic area, a standalone thematic area in our overall development agenda, because ICT is not just an enabler to all the facets of our Kenya Kwanza plan, but it is also a critical success factor for this country moving forward. As you may be aware, we are in earnest pursuing the rollout of 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable. We are establishing 25,000 Wi-Fi hotspots. We are setting up a total of 1,450 digital hubs right in the villages. We are digitizing government services and in equal measure digitalizing government services and digitizing government records. We have embarked on the process of digital skilling. We are on the threshold of local assembly of smart-enabled telephones. We are setting up data centers to enhance our data security and data privacy, just to mention but a few fundamental interventions that the government is introducing in the marketplace under the guidance and close tutelage of His Excellency the President. In all these facets, the Communications Authority of Kenya is a key enabler by way of regulation and also by way of facilitation. I therefore want to commend the organization for coming up with a robust strategic plan that will enable the organization pursue its vision and also augment the efforts of government in delivering on the overall development agenda. Equally, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy that there is effective alignment of this strategic plan. From a policy perspective, you have realized that the strategic plan is aligned to that of the parent ministry. It is aligned to the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda, to the EAC Vision 2050, to the AU's Agenda 2063, and also to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. And of course, specifically to our fourth medium-term plan. I've had the opportunity and privilege of going through the guidelines that were developed by the National Treasury and Ministry of Planning for organizations, the development of strategic plan. And I can state without fear of contradiction that there is a commensurate level of compliance with the statutory guidelines that were provided by the parent ministry that is responsible for development of strategic plan. And I want to thank the team once more, the team that facilitated the development of the strategic plan, for ensuring conformity and reasonable levels of compliance. Equally, we are not developing the strategic plan in a vacuum. The organization has looked back in retrospect and taken note of the milestones that CA has realized while implementing the preceding strategic plan. The challenge that you now have, good people, is to sustain those acts of exemplary performance moving into the future. In the same vein, the strategic plan has recognized the challenges that the organization has faced in the preceding strategic plan period. And what you now must do during the period of this strategic plan is to ensure that you implement strategies and programs that will enable you overcome those challenges between now and 2027. Equally, I've realized there's a contextual analysis. You have taken note of the gaps in performance. You must close those gaps during the period of this strategic plan. You have undertaken a SWOT. You must address the weaknesses within the organization. You must ward off the threats. You have espoused opportunities in your operational environment. Those opportunities, good people, mean nothing if you are not going to take advantage of them as and when the window of opportunity opens, because the window of opportunity does not open forever. So the implication of this is that you have to continuously scan your operational environment so that as and when the window of opportunity opens, you take advantage of that as an organization with a view to enhancing the performance of CA as a regulator. In equal measure, you have undertaken a stakeholder analysis. The import of this is that you exist to meet the expectations of your diverse stakeholder segments. The ministry is an integral stakeholders. You need to augment our efforts in realizing our mandate. The telecommunication companies, you need to create an enabling environment for them to effectively deliver on their goals and objectives. At macro level, you have no option. You must support delivery of the overall government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda. And I'm happy to report to everybody here that CA has been very, very responsive in augmenting efforts of government in realizing the overall development agenda. But moving forward, you have a good vision, you have a good mission, and I've also seen that you have developed quite some good values. The mistake that most organizations make is that they think that values are targets that they need to meet at the end of the strategic plan period. That at the end of strategic plan period in 2027, then you should have achieved integrity or customer excellence. No. Those values mean nothing if you don't believe in them, if you don't internalize them, if you don't practice, institutionalize them into a culture, an enabling corporate culture that would facilitate successful implementation of the strategic plan. So I want to urge you in equal measure to practice those values each and every day in the conduct of your business so that you create a culture that is supportive as opposed to being inimical to the successful implementation of the strategic plan. Again, you have an organogram there. That organogram is aligned to the strategy. It is not the strategy that is aligned to the organogram. The organogram is a facilitator for implementation of the strategic plan. And that organogram is built around the integral functions that CA needs to perform to deliver on its mandate. Let us not build fiefdoms within the organization. I want to appeal to staff not to create fiefdoms within the organization. Deliver on the mandate. That is why we have organization structures within organizations. Perform the work based on your roles and responsibilities as espoused in your job descriptions, on the basis of which you are brought on board within the organization, so that you facilitate successful implementation of the strategic plan. The import of that organogram is that each and every one of us within the organization has got a role to play, and you will be evaluated on the basis of what you are expected to deliver. I'm also happy to note that perhaps this is the first time in my little experience in strategic planning spanning about a quarter of a decade, where I've come across a strategic plan that is self-financing, that has got a surplus in terms of budgetary provision. Please go ahead and deliver the strategic plan within the resources that you have at your disposal. We need to know also in equal measure, good people, that informed by the monitoring, evaluation, and reporting framework that you have developed, we will be held to account at some point in time by way of performance. You have an implementation matrix there with clear responsibility centers, expected outputs, output indicators. It is on the basis of those output indicators that the performance of the organization will be evaluated and the impact you create within the wider society and your wider stakeholder base. Let us not wait to do a midterm review of the strategic plan or do an end-term review of the strategic plan to ascertain the implementation status of the strategic plan. I want to urge you, as management staff with able support from the board, monitoring and evaluation of the strategic plan is continuous. You implement and also in equal measure evaluate and report on your performance. Do that on a continuous basis. It's not one-off. It's not a question of going for a retreat at the end of the year to take stock of what you have done during that activity period. No. So in that regard, I want to urge you to go ahead and automate your M&E framework so that at the press of a button, you are able to ascertain the level of implementation of the strategic plan. Again, developing a strategic plan is good, but now the hard work begins, implementation. This strategic plan has got implications. One, that anything that is outside your strategic plan, you are not going to do. You will not do it because it will not be in your annual work plans. You will not do it because if it is not in your annual work plans, it will not be budgeted for, and you will not have a budgetary provision for it. So we have now a very, very clear, critical path to pursue in all aspects. Again, the strategic plan is going to inform your performance management framework. The starting point of performance management is the strategic plan. And if that's the case, again, I want to urge you to go the extra mile and undertake adequate sensitization of the strategic plan so that you institutionalize it. Our history is awash with examples of very good strategic plans which are not owned by people in the organization because they don't know about it. And you ask them, they tell you, oh, we are not aware of this strategic plan. We are aware the management went for a retreat with a consultant, but we have not seen it. If they have not seen it, how are they going to implement it? So please go a step further and undertake adequate sensitization of all staff, because the starting point of their targets is the strategic plan. Create time, even if it means engaging the consultant a bit further to undertake for you adequate sensitization of the strategic plan to the lowest level within the organization. Now, you sign performance contracts every year. And it is imperative that as you sign performance contracts, you ensure that the performance contracts are in tandem with your key performance indicators and your key result areas in the strategic plan. So that as you implement the strategic plan, you are also delivering on the expectations that are envisaged from you in the performance contract. Please, let it be your basic Bible when you are negotiating the annual performance contract. So that as you implement it, you are also delivering on your obligations in the performance contract. I'm happy to note that the process of development of this strategic plan has been participatory, all-inclusive. You have carried on board all your integral stakeholders from the very beginning. And this is a beautiful approach because it will facilitate ease of implementation of the strategic plan. And I want to commend you for that approach. I also want to urge you, in the course of implementation, to work hand in hand with all the stakeholders and in equal measure appeal to all stakeholders to assist the Communication Authority in implementing this very, very noble strategic plan. And of course, by extension, helping the government in delivering on its overall mandate. With those many remarks, good people, it is my distinguished honor and privilege, and with all the requisite humility, I now declare the CA 2023-2027 strategic plan officially launched.
This on the tables there through the QR code. I'd like to also call on the CA board members to join us for this photo.